Diesel jumps by $2.50 per gallon. PM says it could have been worse. And the budget debate in its last day, Karim Musa says the UDP brings nothing. Burgers, lion burgers, and confused burgers. You'll hear the exchange. Plus, David Gegg, he's trying to bring back the port of magical Belize, and to do so today, he tried to deal a death blow to the port of Belize cruise. E. coli from the BWSL sewage pond spells disaster for that project. Jessie Young, she's a conservationist and community leader. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight, Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indira Craig.
This newscast is brought to you by Cellular World, your authorized Samsung distributor.
At Cellular World, we believe technology shouldn't just be functional. It should make your home uniquely yours. Design your range of Samsung appliances and TVs. Equip your kitchen with smart and stylish fridges, advanced microwaves, and whisper-quiet dishwashers, bringing smart living with efficient smart washers, powerful dryers, or an all-in-one laundry hub that adapts to your lifestyle. Experience true-to-life colors and spot-on sound with the Samsung Q LED Smart TV. Connect all your spaces instantly with the Smart Thing app for seamless control wherever you go. Get all your Samsung products today with the peace of mind that only the 1-year warranty from the authorized distributor can give you. So stop by your favorite location and start designing your smart home today. Only at Cellular World.
These charter mints aren't
We're navigating along the coastline.
This morning, the 2023.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Sherry Kelso, and here's what's ahead for you on 7 News Tonight. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indira Craig.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
We are human beings, so when we are in a hole, we always think our hole is the biggest, deepest, blackest hole. That is just human. And at MIDH, we get to experience a lot of people's sadness and a lot of their turmoil, a lot of what they go through on a day-to-day basis. We have to be there, open to 24 hours a day, having them call us and calling me and telling me, Miss Mar, you know how I live. They send me videos of when it's raining, what's going on in their house. People send you pictures of their children playing in the muddy waters. It's a toll to take on personally every single day. And you recognize that it's the truth, it's their life, it's what they want to change about their lives, and they see this program as a way for them to make a change. So simultaneously, when I'm handing out keys or when we are handing out keys at MIDH, the same day I know my phone is going to ring incessantly for the next few days with people who will be sending me videos, will be crying, will be telling me that their story is one that I need to look at immediately because it's urgent. So it's very difficult because countrywide we have a great need and we are trying our best. We can continue this program for another 10 years and we probably still would not complete filling all the needs.
Cada conexión es más que solo una señal, es un estudiante abriendo las puertas a su futuro a través de la educación digital. Una mente joven atreviéndose a soñar en grande. Nuestra cultura compartida con el mundo en tiempo real. Y héroes cotidianos respondiendo al llamado del deber cívico. Cuando nos conectamos con Digi, empoderamos a Belice.
Compulsorily acquire Stake Bank Island.
But they're acquiring it for a private company.
The government has colluded with a bank to seize from a private owner.
No, the state is stealing his land.
This government used its power to take land from a Belizean developer to give to a foreign company.
And those are things that the U.S. government takes really seriously.
Washington noticed. They've been watching. So when the Prime Minister went begging for help,
especially for the United States, we need equipment, we need intelligence.
But Washington's response? The United States invited 12 Central American and Caribbean heads of state to discuss border security. John Briceño was not invited. What does that tell you?
The U.S. is willing to sanction. They're willing to be aggressive and do whatever they can against these individuals who are taking these actions in these countries.
Secretary Rubio have the Department of State assess the current state of rule of law, judicial independence, and property rights protections in Belize.
My name is Mrs. Esther Smith. I'm a co-owner of A Glimpse of Paradise gift shop here at Altoona, booth number 13. And me and my husband have to offer some of the most finest wood products here in Belize, all hand done by him. And these products are made from some of the most beautiful, finest and hardest wood here in our country. I first started at Atlantic Bank as, went there to start a saving account. From there, I have my checking account with the POS machine. And then it becomes more like a family to me because there are personnel from Atlantic Bank that will always come here, check with us, make sure everything is okay, clean our machine, and they will always ensure that we have bundles. My advice to anybody that wants to choose Atlantic Bank to be their bank is that don't be afraid. You won't have any regret. Atlantic Bank, you will find them to be very efficient, reliable, and competent.
Week 6 of the NABL season showcases 3 flaming matchups this weekend. On Friday night in Dangriga, the Dream Ballers look to bounce back after an heartbreaking loss and take it to the Belmopan Trojans. Then, on Saturday night in Corozal, the Spartans try yet again to get their first win against the undefeated #1 team in the league, the Orange Walk Running Rebels. And in Belize City, them not like me, I mean I like them. A full-fledged clash as the #2 team in the league, the San Pedro Tiger Sharks, try to stay undefeated against the loaded Belize City Defenders. Entertainment by the NABL girls, giveaways, and the halftime $5,000 National Sports Council Shooting Challenge. So see you this weekend for an NABL weekend, sponsored by the Government of Belize.
$4.3 million was paid for legal and professional fees in relation to PetroCaribe. And another $4 million is projected to be spent every year for the next 3 years. $16 million in legal and professional advisory fees. What we done with PetroCaribe in 2016.
The government's blue bond carried another $85 million in transaction costs. That's tens of millions more in legal and advisory fees. So who's collecting?
Show those fees!
Exposed by Freedom of Information requests, the government admitted Courtney Coy LLP was paid $227,000 on just one disclosed contract. How many more are there? So while millions of dollars are being spent, the Prime Minister is begging Washington for help securing our borders.
It is important that we get the necessary assistance, especially from the United States. We need equipment. We need intelligence.
But there's no shortage of millions for legal and advisory services.
Who is getting those legal and professional advisory fees?
It's time to come clean, Mr. Prime Minister.
We have centralized systems of corruption in this government.
In a democracy, what is good for the government cannot be bad for the people. And what is good for the people cannot be bad for the government.
We came a long way. It's like over 16 years that it was basically like 2-3 houses in that area.
It was wild.
One high bush like jungle. I want to take my lick. Say no water, no light. I tell her no worry about that. We have figure it out.
You know, you wonder how long it will take for this to happen.
A year ago, you were considered squatters.
We made a picado and we came in.
I made a teenager.
Everybody said it was swamp, it was swamp. When we get in here, it was like gold.
Today, you're landowners.
That's for we, and we proud of this.
Now we're claiming our house on the land.
We have worked so hard to make this happen for us.
This is a beautiful day, folks, because we are taking care of the people who have taken care of us. Because we wouldn't be here today without you.
Compulsorily acquire Stake Bank Island.
But they're acquiring it for a private company.
The government has colluded with a bank to seize from a private owner.
No, the state is stealing his land.
This government used its power to take land from a Belizean developer to give to a foreign company.
And those are things that the U.S. government takes really seriously.
Washington noticed. They've been watching. So when the Prime Minister went begging for help,
Especially for the United States, we need equipment, we need intelligence.
But Washington's response? The United States invited 12 Central American and Caribbean heads of state to discuss border security. John Briceño was not invited. What does that tell you?
The U.S. is willing to sanction. They're willing to be aggressive and do whatever they can against these individuals who are taking these actions in these countries.
Secretary Rubio have the Department of State assess the current state of rule of law, judicial independence, and property rights protections in Belize.
Nando's Wholesale is the distributor for the full line of Badia spices, including the original complete seasoning, the perfect combination of ingredients and spices prepared to enhance the natural flavor of your favorite foods. Also, cinnamon powder for all your desserts, fruits, and beverages, and as special dishes. All these are available in commercial sizes or restaurant packaging. Nando's products are available at your local retailer or contact us at 222-5000. From Corozal to Toledo, Nando's is proud to be serving Belize as its #1 wholesale distributor for over 35 years.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
If you tried to get diesel after 7 last night, chances are you found gas stations that had just run out. And that's because there was a rush on gas stations because diesel prices increased by $2.50 per gallon at midnight. But yesterday, the Prime Minister said it would have been well over $3 if the government hadn't absorbed some of the cost of this latest shipment. But is that enough? Will they consider lowering their tax take on the fuel prices? Here's how he puts it.
Are you thinking about freezing government's take in terms of the increase on fuel prices like you did before?
Well, we are looking at that, and yes, we will have to see how far it will go. As it is just now, we are foregoing, I think, at least $1.25 in tax. And that would represent, I think it's over $60 million that we're foregoing. And when we forego $60 million, or what Honorable Lee Mark Chan was talking about, writing it off because it's over $200 million, okay, we could write it off. But where will I get that $200 million to be able to pay the teachers, to pay the BDF, to pay for NHI, to pay Cal Kushner? I mean, there's so many things that we have to do. The money has to come from somewhere. So it's easy to say, cut it. But tell me, as I said to him, tell me where we're going to get the money to be able to plug that hole. I guess we may have to to take a hard look at the budget, and maybe there's some projects that maybe we can hold back until things stabilize. But right now we need to really look as to exactly what is going to happen. So we don't want to just jump the gun before we do that. So we are doing our best as we can to be able to ease the pressure on people. As I said, the price would have gone up in excess of $3, but because we are cutting the tax by $1, at least about $1.25, that we're just going to go down to less than $3 increase.
The Prime Minister also commented on the issues of national interest. Yesterday, the Mexican side of the Santa Elena border was reopened after a 6-day closure, and the movement of cargo was finally restored after a tense and costly closure, reportedly caused by a new cartel boss in that area. Officials from the Belizean Embassy in Mexico and the Prime Minister's office in Belmopan did try to keep official tabs on the problem. The Prime Minister discussed those efforts.
Well, we're very grateful that it has opened, and it's very concerned. We've been dealing this at the highest level. We've been dealing directly with the government, but also I have direct contact with the office of the president to be able to address these things, because sometimes in the bureaucracy things get stuck there and it does not move fast enough. A few months ago, I had sent Ambassador Oliver Del Cid along with our Ambassador Oscar Alno to meet with Lázaro Cárdenas, who is the Chief of Staff in the President's office, for them to be able to give him a first-hand view of what really is taking place at the border. When in bureaucracies we give a report and it goes up the channel, it's always being sanitized, that by the time it gets to the highest channels, probably you do not get a full understanding of what's really is happening. And so for me, it was important for us to be able to get directly to the president. That's when they sent in, I think about 10,000 troops came in, federal and state, and they went and they managed to go after a lot of these people. Of course, as soon as they left, and these guys come back again. We have been talking again to the officials at the border, and we felt that we were not getting anywhere, and so we again sent a message directly to the president's office a few days ago. So I'm happy to note that this has been cleared up. But I think that sooner or later I will probably have to try to see if I can have a meeting with the president to say that this matter is getting really out of control, and that they would probably see if we could urge them if they could put a permanent presence at the border to ensure that trade can be facilitated in and out of Mexico. I remember way back when I became Prime Minister in 2020, at my first meeting with the people at the officials at the U.S. Embassy, the question to me was, what is it that keeps you awake at night? I told them the cartels, because we cannot afford to get them into this country, because the minute they get in, it will be very difficult to get them out. So we've been appealing to them to help us, and I hope that pretty soon they'll be able to give us. They've been giving some help, but we need some serious help with equipment, with intelligence, with transportation, mobility, to be able to move from the north to the south, in a very short time.
And it was the merchants who import fruits and vegetables that were most concerned about their perishable goods rotting on the Mexican side of the border. Well, if any of that produce spoils, will consumers end up bearing the cost? The PM said he hopes not.
So we understand that there have been losses. I think they said vegetables, that would be the main perishable thing, I think. So it's losses to those people. It's going to mean that we will have increase in prices for us too as consumers.
I hope not. But
what about losses in revenue in terms of fees charged on? Sorry, is it just like delayed because they're still going to come across at some point?
Well, they'll still come across, and when they come across, then we will be able to charge our duties or the taxes. So we'll be able to get it back, but still, it still puts a dent. The money comes in, but comes in later, and government needs the money now.
And keeping it in the north, we told you that the BSCFA that is, rejected the PM's proposal to drop their fair trade litigation against Tate and Lyle and BSI. Yesterday, Briceño said he was only trying to help them get past the issue and move on. But he added that there's only so much help he can give them before the other sectors start clamoring for the same.
Are you disappointed at the vote of the BSCFA membership?
Not necessarily. I think, as I said earlier, it's a decision that they have to make. All I was hoping is how we can try to bring this to an end. And if they feel that they want to continue with that, then that's on them. The problem is that what we have as a cabinet, that we can't continue bailing out the BSCFA. They have come several times for us to bail them out, and we have done so because they play an important role in the sugar industry. But whenever we do that, colleagues then start to tell us, well, how about tour operators, and how about the fisher folks, how about these people that have to buy more boats, or down south, the people in agriculture down south. The cacao people, they are always reminding me during the fires, a lot of small cacao farmers lost their produce, and we did not manage to give them the help that they needed. So it creates a sense of frustration and jealousy within cabinet. And I don't know for how long I'll be able to do that, because then the rest of us say, hold on, before you do that, we also have to give to the other areas. And I also like to make the point that whenever the government gives monies to one association, the other associations are saying, well, we are also taxpayers, so we also deserve a part of that money. So I was trying to see how we could find a way out to put an end to this. But if they feel that they want to continue with the case, that's fully their right.
Will the fertilizers still be provided?
I'm sorry?
Will the fertilizers still be provided?
Well, the support now, because of this case, I think we will probably provide the support, but then we'll have to share it between the four associations.
We've reported extensively on the Panamanian vessel with 55,000 gallons of marine diesel that the government seized, while also charging the captain for a number of infractions. But the vessel had been in Belizean water for more than 2 weeks before any decisive action was taken, and the Department of the Environment even offered the importer an administrative solution as a way out. But despite the fact that Customs and DOE moved slowly, the PM says he was pushing for charges throughout.
What I do know, when it was brought to my attention, I said we have to go after this and to go at the full length of the law. I called the Attorney General. I said, I want you to get involved with this, because I'm not going to have a law that because of a simple administrative error or that an attorney can get them off. So when I heard that, all of a sudden the DOE jumped the gun and sent them and got an invoice. I don't know how they got an invoice when Customs did not get it. And saying, come, we'll settle this administratively. They were totally out of their remit. That was not within their purview to be able to do that. Maybe in other matters, they probably could have done that. And so what I've said, again, instructed the Attorney General to ensure that an attorney from his office to be fully involved in this, to ensure that, that we can get to the bottom of this, 2, confiscate this, and then 3, whosoever is in any way available, involved in this and did any illegal activity, that they must be charged to the fullest extent of the law.
We'll take a break now. Still ahead, David Gegg tried to deal a death blow to the Port of Belize cruise project. Today he says E. coli from the BWSL sewage ponds spells disaster for that project and Port Loyola. Also, we'll profile one of Belize's most outstanding women, Jessie Young. She's a conservationist and community leader. Don't go away.
Belize, You're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Get your body sculpted with gym equipment and accessories from Benny's. Quality and savings.
Smart for everybody. Smart leading everything. Smart give you everything. Smart offer everything. Smart give you everything. North to the east and the south and the west. Smart are the best. Darling, double up my data and give me all the text. In fact, give me a plan for my family. Unlimited calls so me like it. And Smart make everybody feel happy. Bringing people together, me want it now. Smart got love for everybody. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. More bundles, data plan. Me want my smartphone, internet in my hand. Call me want my Smart plan. Want it right now. Smart. Stay connected. Stay happy.
Compulsorily acquire Stake Bank Island.
But they're acquiring it for a private company.
The government has colluded with a bank to seize from a private owner.
No, the state is stealing his land.
This government used its power to take land from a Belizean developer to give to a foreign company.
And those are things that the U.S. government takes really seriously.
Washington noticed. They've been watching. So when the Prime Minister went begging for help,
Especially for the United States, we need equipment, we need intelligence.
But Washington's response? The United States invited 12 Central American and Caribbean heads of state to discuss border security. John Briceño was not invited. What does that tell you?
The U.S. is willing to sanction. They're willing to be aggressive and do whatever they can against these individuals who are taking these actions in these countries.
Secretary Rubio have the Department of State assess the current state of rule of law, judicial independence, and property rights protections in Belize.
The roads of Belize connect us all. Riders, drivers, families, friends. Every day begins with a little routine and the confidence that life's journeys are protected. From school drop-off through the daily grind and everything in between, each with different roads ahead, yet one common goal: to arrive safely. Atlantic Insurance stands with Belize's riders and motorists with affordable protection, support, and peace of mind for the journey ahead. For the roads we share and the lives we protect, Atlantic Insurance is by your side, insuring you from life's unexpected. Atlantic Insurance, insuring you from life's unexpected.
Hey Belize! Our country is known worldwide for its natural beauty, from our barrier reef to our rainforest. But there's a growing threat to our paradise. Global plastic production has skyrocketed to 400 million tons per year, and without action, plastic waste flowing into our waters will nearly triple by 2040, from around 11 million tons in 2016 to around 29 million tons in 2040. Here at home, this situation is just as concerning. In 2024 alone, Belize imported over 13.3 million plastics and over 12 million plastic lids and caps. What might seem like just one plastic bottle or one chips bag adds up quickly. During our National Cleanup Day, almost 26,000 plastic bottles were collected, and that's just one day of effort. But here's the good news. We can all be part of the solution. Use waste bins, keep a litter bag in your car, wait until you find a proper disposal site. These simple actions make a real difference. Join us in keeping Belize clean. Our Belize, our responsibility. BINIC.
At Atlantic Bank, your convenience is our priority. Our contact center is designed to enhance your banking experience. With a wide range of customer service options, you save time and effort. You can easily call in to block or unblock your debit and credit cards, perform account inquiries, and access detailed card information. Whether you need assistance with online banking, merchant support, or general inquiries, our team is ready to help. For added convenience, if all operators are busy, you can leave your number and an operator will return your call as soon as possible to ensure you receive the support you need. Depending on your transaction type, we may need to verify your identity through a set of security questions. And remember, Atlantic Bank will never request your username or password for Atlantic Online via phone call, text, or email, ensuring your personal information remains safe and secure. Our support team is available Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in both English and Spanish. Simply dial 223-1212. This is a dedicated line for our contact center. Atlantic Bank is committed to providing you with exceptional service and the tools you need to manage your finances conveniently and securely. Take full advantage of our easy-to-use contact center services today.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
4.3 million was paid for legal and professional fees in relation to Petrocarib, and another 4 million is projected to be spent every year for the next 3 years. 16 million in legal and professional advisory fees. What we done with Petrocarib in 2016.
The government's blue bond carried another 85 million in transaction costs. That's tens of millions more in legal and advisory fees. So who's collecting?
Show those fees!
Exposed by Freedom of Information requests, the government admitted Courtney Coy LLP was paid $227,000 on just one disclosed contract. How many more are there? So while millions of dollars are being spent, the Prime Minister is begging Washington for help securing our borders.
It is important that we get the necessary assistance, especially from the United States. We need equipment. We need intelligence.
But there's no shortage of millions for legal and advisory services.
Who is getting those legal and professional advisory fees?
It's time to come clean, Mr. Prime Minister.
We have centralized systems of corruption in this government.
I feel very happy for Francisca, a single mother who has struggled a lot, and this house is going to be now theirs, and it's an opportunity for a new beginning.
I'm tremendously excited and honored to have received this present. I applied some years ago, and the response that I received was spectacular, and I'm completely happy about receiving this home. I cannot wait to spend the first night here with my girls, and have this sense of feeling that I finally get to own something.
Turning that key feels amazing. It's ours. We can walk how we want to walk in it. Be loud, have fun memories, That's what I'm trying to create for them.
I feel very grateful and happy that we're in a new house and
we can move around how we want and make as much noise as we want.
It's a huge step for me and especially my son to own our new home, and I'm looking forward to make it even more extended so we can have even a bigger home eventually in the future. I am happy and excited. My birthday was yesterday, so today that's a perfect gift.
I'm very grateful, excited about my house, something I can call my house, and for my kids. As soon as you become a mother, everything you want is the best for them. So I'm very happy to have my own safe place and also for them.
It's a good feeling because it's not only the house we're building here. In this development that we did here, we acquired the property, government did, and we distributed to over 56 needy residents. And I believe this is the 4th house in this area. So it's an accomplishment to know that the people in this area didn't have where to live before, and now they have an opportunity.
I'm very grateful. I'm happy, and I'm one of the luckiest person, I would say, because I know that there are many out there that would like to have a home, and I know that MIDH is doing a very good job and helping all those ones who are looking forward for this opportunity.
What these homes mean to them is a new start. It means hope. It means them getting an opportunity to start all over and to go from there.
I'm very thankful to God for allowing this and to the minister for giving this opportunity to so many families. And I would like to thank God and everyone who put in any work. And this Marissa too for always, she's the backbone to everything here too. So thanks to her and the whole team.
Miss Vera has been quite helpful in that. She used to come down through the bushes and clean her lot and keep her lot maintained so that when we were ready to build, that we would be able to get to it. And that's a lot of the things that people don't see. How much these recipients need a home, so how hard the struggle has been for them and how much they put in, the pound of flesh that they put in so that we can get to where we are.
As you can see today, this mother and her child are so happy to be able to finally have a place they can call home. We work with MIDH, we work with the government of Belize to give people houses, and then they make it into homes. And this is another way of empowering. We empower single mothers, we empower families, because this now becomes an asset for them that they can leverage down the road.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
A domestic dispute between a Belize City couple has put a 26-year-old woman behind bars after she was accused of stabbing her common-law husband multiple times and cutting his throat with a broken bottle. Amber Arnold appeared unrepresented today before Senior Magistrate Manon Dennison in the Belize City Magistrates Court. She was charged with wounding her common-law husband, 42-year-old laborer Marvin Grant. Arnold allegedly became upset after he answered a phone call from a woman and she accused him of cheating. Grant told police that Arnold returned from the kitchen with a knife and later broke a pint bottle and held it to his throat, causing a cut to his neck. He further reported that as he attempted to walk away, Arnold stabbed him twice in the upper back, leaving him with multiple injuries. An equivocal plea of not guilty was entered on her behalf. Arnold was remanded to prison and is scheduled to return to court on May 13th. 1 month after police listed him as wanted for questioning in connection with a complaint of theft, on March 8, 31-year-old Eterio Castillo, better known as DJ Cass, was formally arrested and charged for theft of $32,599.60. After spending the March-long weekend in lockdown, He was arraigned in Benqueviejo Court, where he was granted bail. This stems from a report made on February 12th by Vegas Distributors Limited. Reports suggest that the company plans to make an additional report against him for additional sums. Castillo has maintained that it's a misunderstanding and says he has indicated to Vegas his willingness to repay them on terms. Turning now to the Port of Belize, in the next few minutes, the public consultation on the environmental impact assessment for the Port of Belize proposed cargo expansion and cruise port development project is set to start. But competing cruise site developer David Gegg tried to drop the bomb on them off today by hosting his own press conference where he planned to reveal a report which he says is a deal ender for any notion of a port cruise facility. We found out it could have wider public health implications.
With the 1,200 pages of the Port of Belize proposed cargo expansion and cruise port development EIA beside him, David Gegg tore into the project.
Once this information is shared, which is a critique of their ESIA, iteration number 3, actually, you'll probably understand why we have decided that it's time to try and bring Portico back to life, because I think we'll prove that a cruise port at the Port of Belize site is simply not practical or even feasible.
We heard the customary criticisms of the narrow pass at the one-man key channel and the mega ships coming through with their bow thrusters.
And that's what happens when you engage your bow thrusters. You basically throw plumes of turbidity that far. And that is exactly what would happen going through one-man key channel. Those plumes of turbidity would end up on the reef wall and stifle the young coral growth.
And he produced screenshots from Royal Caribbean Cruise Line's VP of Destination Development, Josh Carroll, dissing the project.
He says it's terrible. I have zero interest in that port. And then over here he says, we are out of Belize completely, considering divesting of FST if you know any potential buyers. Wow. That's Josh Carroll to me.
But those were just previews. The real problem is those BWSL sewage ponds. And Gegg produced a damning and worrying study.
The biggest problem with this port is E. coli. And it's not a minor issue, as you will soon find out. The effluent coming out of that sewer lagoon is hazardous. It's a health issue for people in Port Loyola and south side of Belize in a major way. Guys, the real problem for Port of Belize is BWSL. Mr. Lawrence Lopez, this is a report that's a few weeks old. It's quite telling and shocking. And this report confirms that the levels of E. coli coming out of the sewer lagoon are 880 times more than the acceptable standard by World Health Organization. Readings were taken directly where the outflow canal is coming out of the sewer lagoon, right where the buses pass over it. It's not just mediocre E. coli, it is intense. I mean, this document suggests that the health hazard is potentially even deadly. You read this, you think it doesn't exist. They have completely navigated their way around the E. coli issue in this document here. Completely. Okay. I mean, it's a clear case of deception. You don't take tourists into this kind of setting, especially when the health issue is such a major one. And the health issue comes from the E. coli that's so prevalent in the ponds and in the surrounding area. This document, you know, when I read it, I said, how anybody tolerate that? It's bad.
Gegg, who will not be at the consultation tonight, closed with a heartfelt message to the Prime Minister.
So this has to be fixed, PM. You talked of a budget of 1.9 billion a couple of weeks ago. You need to find some of that money and fix this in the interest of the health and well-being of people in Port Loyola. It's critical that you do so. Number two, I think the delusions of a cruise product in that setting or in a portability setting needs to fade away. I don't think a cruise component will ever get built there for all the reasons I've exposed and more.
Tonight's consultation, which is in person and virtual for the EIA report, will be held at the Biltmore and will be streamed on the Government Press Office Facebook page. There's also a Zoom link for those wanting to make comments. It's the last day of the budget debate, and right now the PM is wrapping up the debate, which we'll show you shortly. The UDP's Queen Square rep, Godwin Haylock, rose this morning to criticize the government's NHI program, which the LOO already requested an audit for. But while the PUP repeatedly complains that the UDP provides no solutions, Haylock came ready with recommendations for the program.
Under this year's budget, Kayo District will see 70% of their NHI patients attend private clinics, while only 30% of them will go to public clinics. Yes, this may be a quick way to increase access and efficiency to health care, but no doubt it increases the cost of health care because companies are first and foremost profit-driven. So, in my respectful view, sending patients to a private clinic is not a very smart financial move. And now here lies the amusing power of capitalism and politics in Belize. The PUP renationalized Bolido in this country about 5 years ago, taking the Bolido profits away from a private company and calling it Fui Bolido. We on this side recognize the benefits of that, Prime Minister. But we also recognize, Mr. Speaker, that Fui Bolido is now starting to look like Fui Biggest Bukut. Because the profits from the People's Bolido, along with some of taxpayers' hard-earned money, are being channeled right back to the PUP cronies in the form of lavish NHI contracts. We recommend the following. Cap the share of NHI services delivered by private providers to no more than 40 to 50%, ensuring that the public system remains the backbone of primary health care in Belize. Introduce a standard patient pricing model where both private and public providers are reimbursed at the same rate to prevent inflated costs and ensure fairness. Implement performance-based contracts for providers where payments are tied to measurable incomes such as reduced wait times, patient satisfaction, and treatment success rates. Strengthen transparency and accountability by publishing NHI contracts and conduct and release NHI audits. That way Belizeans can see how their money is being spent.
Later in the day, Karim Musa got a chance to have his way with the opposition, just as most of those on his side have so far. But Musa served up some shade by calling the UDP speeches a nothing burger, a liar burger, and a confused burger. Here's how that went.
And it's now 12:05 p.m., the lunch hours, so I get really hungry. And when I get hungry, Mr. Speaker, I have a confession to make. Because, no, I'm not going out too bad. But when I get hungry, I like Ali Johnson. The one of my favorite restaurants, mind you, when the man me run against me, my family forbid that I eat from Johnson. So for 2 years, I struggled without Johnson. But now I could eat it again. But having heard the presentations over the last 3 days, Mr. Speaker, I think we might have to add some stuff to the menu because one of the favorite things for me is the chicken burger. But when I listened to the leader of the opposition on the first day, again I must say I'm hungry because the first thing I think is a nothing burger. For 2 hours, we were subjected to a healthy serving of nothing. no solutions, no alternatives, no plan. But then yesterday, we're going to be serving a spicy burger, or a lot of spice. But all the pepper, all the marisha, pana meat. It can't help the meat because the meat spoil. That one layered burger. The man bring one whole layered burger to this house. And to the speaker, this is somebody where no way in the kitchen. How could he come to this honorable house and say for he people not get no house? The honorable member for Kaya South put him right. 7 members of your constituency have gotten starter homes. 7. It makes you wonder if we should bring back shine. So we had the nothing burger, then we had the layered burger, and then this morning, I don't know if it's said, it sounds like one confused burger, but I don't know if they got such a thing. One confused burger, or maybe one dry burger. I never had much, no ketchup. But it confused because then the day before, the member from MESOP say, we dey pay the public officers too much. And now he come and say, he want a raise for the nurses, but your colleague from MESOP say he does not support our public officers. Anyway, I don't know any treating off of the Johnson menu. I'll stick to the chicken burger.
And when asked about the opposition leader's speech, all the PM could say was that she tried her best.
I guess she had to find something to say, and she spoke for over 2 hours. And I'm going to be kind that she's doing as best as she can as the leader of the opposition to try to come up with some kind of rebuttal. But even people from within her own party have not been satisfied, and they've been savage to her with her presentation. So I will leave it to them, and I think I will leave it as that.
And right now in Belmopan, the PM is wrapping up 3 days of debate. While he minced his words yesterday outside the chambers, today he didn't hold back when criticizing the LOO speech. Here's a snippet from just a few minutes ago.
Leader of the opposition, they receive a drab and dragged out ramble with little substance and no true analysis of the budget. The leader of the opposition was poorly prepared and failed in a real analysis of the national budget proposals. She tried, unsuccessfully, I believe, to deceive and distort the facts, and many of my colleagues were quick to point this out. And perhaps this is where the disability lies, Madam Speaker. The disability lies in her not being able to properly analyze, criticize, and provide alternatives, exposing her lack of qualifications to lead a nation. Now, I can be a lot harsher in my criticism of the leader of the opposition at this time. You could remember when the then Prime Minister Dean Barrow used to come at us. I mean, he called, we all kind of name. And she sat on the other side, yeah, laugh, you know. She enjoyed it. But when I said do so, not like do so. But I am not like that. So, I am not by nature a mean person, Madam Speaker. And yes, so I know that I'm too soft. But I need to add something to that. I don't need to be mean. I don't need to be cruel, because the critics of her own party have already passed judgment on her performance. One of their stalwarts post on social media, and I quote, please forgive me, it's not my words, Madam Speaker, and I quote, "Is this crap what you invited UDP supporters to tune into?" End of quote. Say a name and I'll whistle. No, this is not a word, Madam Speaker, that he used to describe. This is the word that he used to describe. I don't want to repeat it again. So this is the word that he used to describe almost 2 hours of aimless rambling. Not even I would have gone there. But this is from one of their own.
The PM's debate wrap-up continues at this hour. The PM also spoke about the Cuban Medical Brigade, which continues to hang in the delicate balance between U.S. diplomatic pressure and Belize's dire need for rural doctors. Tonight, there's still no final decision on the way forward. The PM says that the foreign and health ministers are still in discussion.
As I said, the foreign minister, I think, went at length to give you an explanation, and it remains the same. And I think the Minister of Health said the same. I mean, it's, as I said, delicate negotiations, and we're in contact with the Cuban government and the Cuban brigade. And I know when we meet with the Americans, they also bring to our attention, their concerns about it. So I'm hoping that we can work out something more sooner than later.
And keeping it in the medical sector, on Monday in the House, you heard the DPM say that they'd love to make KHMH free. But is it possible? The PM seemed to think it fanciful.
I love the DPM very, very, very much. We've been together for the past, he started off in 1994. And I know that's a part of what he wants to do. And I think it's a goal that we want to reach, that we want to meet. But we would have to take a look at the numbers, because once we do that, then the money has to come from somewhere. And once we can find that money to be able to do that, we'll be happy to do it.
And yesterday we told you that Jeremy Enriquez and Nand Ramlogan had a breakthrough at the CCJ. The court ruled that 2 of the 3 appeals that were struck out at the Court of Appeal should be heard. But today the PM said the ruling is moot since they're already working on redistricting.
Well, I have not seen the report, but I think it's, at this point, you're right, it's moot, because we're already working on the redistricting. And I'm still pushing. I should have a meeting with Minister Musa on Monday to get an update as to how is it going, so that we can ensure that we can keep our timeline, that we hope that can be in place by the end of this year.
We'll take a break now, but there's still much more news ahead. It's Women's Month, and we'll be profiling one of Belize's most outstanding women, Jessie Young. She's a conservationist and a community leader. Plus, we'll take you to the annual BNTU conference where they spoke about teacher shortages and teacher burnout. Don't go away.
This newscast is brought to you by Cellular World, your authorized Samsung distributor.
Compulsorily acquire Stake Bank Island.
But they're acquiring it for a private company.
The government has colluded with a bank to seize from a private owner.
No, the state is stealing his land.
This government used its power to take land from a Belizean developer to give to a foreign company.
And those are things that the U.S. government takes really seriously.
Washington noticed. They've been watching. So when the Prime Minister went begging for help,
Especially for the United States, we need equipment, we need intelligence.
But Washington's response? The United States invited 12 Central American and Caribbean heads of state to discuss border security. John Briceño was not invited. What does that tell you?
The U.S. is willing to sanction. They're willing to be aggressive and do whatever they can against these individuals who are taking these actions in these countries.
Secretary Rubio have the Department of State assess the current state of rule of law, judicial independence, and property rights protections in Belize.
Welcome to the V Department Store. We are
are conveniently located on Coney Drive in Belize City. That's right on Coney Drive in Belize City. At the V Department Store, we offer a wide variety of groceries, cosmetics, kitchen appliances, kitchenware, electronics, and more. We've also recently expanded to the second floor to better meet your household and office furniture needs. We now have a wide variety of furniture, home decor, and accessories. We have a shared vision for a comfortable and customer-friendly shopping experience. Visit us today and be warmly greeted by our reasonable prices and cordial staff. The V Department Store. Experience the ultimate shopping destination.
I'm Randall Friesen and I manage Westwell Produce, better known as Granny's Foods. That's our main brand. So we offer high quality grains, beans, rice, and we also offer corn chips made from 100% locally grown corn. We saw a need for high quality locally produced products. A lot of the best products are being exported, and we said, we need to keep some of the best products here in Belize rather than export everything. Atlantic Bank has helped us achieve our goals by providing the financing for us to be able to launch products faster than we would without the financing that they offer. We find that Atlantic Bank is very customer friendly, especially with small and medium-sized businesses. We find that Atlantic Bank is more than willing to go the extra mile. They try to understand your business. So when we go to Atlantic Bank with a certain need, we find that they try to develop a solution that will meet our specific need. I would encourage any small business owner to go to Atlantic Bank for their financial services. They're very friendly, and just overall, their service is excellent.
I'm so excited and I'm so blessed because I always wanted a home which I could call my own, and I'm very happy, excited that it's in me. I don't really can't express it out, but I'm so happy and glad.
We at Housing pushed to ensure that we put a case strong enough together for her so she could enjoy a home with all the basic facilities, because these things are human rights: to have a bathroom, to have somewhere to lay your head in peace, to have shelter that's not leaking, to have a kitchen that you can function as a mom.
I want to thank the Father God for life and also for the blessing that come in my way. It was my little twins. I'm a grandmother now, and today I received this house. The blessings coming. Thanks. I wait. I say God will make a way, and it came true. The dream finally come true. And I would like to tell everyone out there, it's not just a house, but it's a foundation that will be for a better tomorrow.
I feel overjoyed, I'm happy. And of course, these days are always bittersweet for me because there's so much more that I would love to give my people of Khaled. However, on one full basket, I really have to give a shout out to the team at MIDH, the minister, Miss Mar. They're on top of their game.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Tonight we take a look at the life and journey of the president of the Community Baboon Sanctuary, Jessie Young. For more than 4 decades, she pioneered the protection of Belize's black howler monkeys while empowering rural communities along the Belize River Valley. For Women's Month, Jaleesa Roberts highlights this Belizean woman whose leadership has helped transform a small community conservation effort into a globally recognized model.
Nestled in the villages along the Belize River Valley, the Community Baboon Sanctuary stands as one of Belize's most unique conservation initiatives. The sanctuary, which protects the habitat of the black howler monkey, locally known as the baboon, is managed largely through the cooperation of private landowners who voluntarily preserve forest on their properties. But what makes this unique is that the driving force behind all these moving parts is a woman, Jessie Young. Young's journey into conservation began more than 4 decades ago. In 1981, American primatologist Robert Horwich arrived in the Belize River Valley to study the region's howler monkeys. Young, who grew up in the rural communities surrounded by nature, began assisting with the research.
From age 6, that was when I started to fall in love with nature. There was this huge oak tree across from our home. And when I would get into trouble, that's my comfort zone. I would go there and I admire all the creatures, the insects, the birds, everything that would come there. But I didn't even know what that was until when Dr. Horwich came and I started to be along with him. That was when I learned the word conservation and I was like, right up my alley. That's what I want to do. The monkeys were always here, so they are like a part of our culture. They are harmless to humans. And so people have a great respect for them. They have so many features like humans, you know, like hugging their babies, spanking them if they do something wrong. And so they don't eat what we use for food. They don't harm us in any way. They are strictly vegetarian. So you know, we are not scared of them. They are part of us. Growing up in the rural setting, we are like born in nature, you know, it's all around us. So I think that is one of the things that make us who we are today, you know, part of conservation. My parents, we grew up doing milpa farming. We grow, you know, like a small portion of property we would clear for slash and burn. And that's how we grew up. So everything around us, we always try to use sustainable. And, you know, we kind of feel a part of the nature that surrounded us.
The sanctuary itself was the first conservation model of its kind, where private landowners voluntarily agreed to protect forest habitat for wildlife. But the sanctuary almost disappeared. By the late 1990s, operations had collapsed and the office closed. That was when Young stepped forward.
In 1997, things started to go downhill. The offices was closed, and that was when I decided to lobby the women from who I knew were already leaders in some way to take over the management. So we were kind of scared at first because we didn't know what we were going into, what we were putting ourselves into. But as we approached the landowners, they were, unanimously, they agreed for us to take over the management of the sanctuary.
When they started in 1985, when the sanctuary was established, there were about 800 monkeys. Now that number has increased to almost 6,000 as a result of a small step she took towards establishing a community effort. Over the years, the woman-led organization expanded conservation into community development. Today, the sanctuary supports ecotourism, agroforestry, backyard gardening, livestock programs, and scholarships. For Young, conservation must always benefit the people who live alongside the wildlife, and she has the vision of how the contingency plan will look.
Well, I would want to raise up new leaders so that they can continue the work that we do here, because I don't think the monkeys have anywhere to go, you know, but we have to manage the forest that protects them, or manage the forest for wildlife on a whole. And so by raising up new leaders that we are doing right now, that's a succession that we really want to see it continue for, many more years to come for a future generation. Community and conservation must go together, otherwise you will fail somewhere down the road.
But conservation is not without challenges. Women in conservation experience their fair share of discrimination being in male-led fields, and even though they are oftentimes not viewed as equals, she says that they are now somewhat acknowledged.
From my experience, I think we get a lot of acknowledgement for the work that we do here. I wouldn't say much respect in the sense of, because you know how women are still kind of not seen as equal to men. But we are acknowledged for the work that we do, and I think that's good enough for us. That they see us as a driving force out there, and that we get things done. We just don't talk; we get things done.
With only a primary school education, Young started this with little to no experience, just a willing heart. You probably grew up in the era when women didn't have equal access to education, and so can you talk to us about that?
That is so true, because many of when we started, our board members, they were like only primary school education. And that's why I think we were scared, because we didn't even know what we were getting ourselves into. I remember when we started, our first proposal was to pack. We didn't even know how to use a typewriter to do a proposal or anything like that. But as we went along, we learned the process of how things are, and here we are today. So I would encourage other women as well not to let anything block their way. Just step out and go for it, and believe in yourselves. That's the thing. You have to believe in yourselves and believe in what you do, and there will be no failure. You just keep going. That never looks back. Keep going.
And when she reflects on what the journey has been like, this is what she can say.
There is a lot of emotion sometimes that I reflect on, knowing where I came from, and knowing where I am today. It's the blessing of God that has me here, because there was no way I could have done it on my own. And the support that I got from the women, sometimes I look back and I'm like, how did I get here? And I always prayed every day for vision, new vision, wisdom to continue the work that I do. And not only here at the CBS, but in my entire community. I have this humanitarian heart for people, and they touch me every day, and that is what I want to continue to do.
Being able to stand mighty among men, this is her message to young women in conservation.
Get involved. I tell people it's like a tree. You plant a tree, you nurture that tree, and you grow with the tree. And that is what I want to encourage young women to do, to get involved and grow with whatever you are doing. Like every day there is a new challenge. There is something new that you can look forward to. So just get involved,
Jessie Young is proof that with a willing heart to make a difference, even with limited resources, the impossible can become possible. Jessie Young, a woman in conservation. Jaleesa Roberts, 7 News.
Anyone wishing to help with the work being done at the Community Baboon Sanctuary can contact 633-1748. The BNTU and its members gathered together today at the Fort George Hotel for their annual teacher conference to tackle some of the complex issues confronting the profession. Jo Marie Lanza was there.
The theme for this year's conference is strengthening Belize's education workforce, retention, welfare, workload, accountability, and fair compensation. President Nadia Khalid says these discussions are long overdue in the 30-plus years that she has been teaching. She says it's time for them to look at the solutions to these issues that they have been facing within the workforce as educators.
The BNTU saw the need to bring together the stakeholders of education in Belize and in the region for us to discuss improving the education workforce. We're looking at retention, accountability, fair compensation, burnt out, workload, all of those things. I'm quite certain that the Belizean public can relate to this. Quite often I hear government saying that they have been investing in education and they're not getting return. The BNTU strongly believes that we need to lead the discussion. Why is it that you're not getting returns? What are the factors that are actually hindering the reason why you're not getting these returns? And that's what we're discussing here today. So you have managers sharing their expectations, school leaders, as well as the ministry, what they expect from what they expect to get in return from education. And what we're doing right now as we speak, we have teachers who are sharing their real life experiences. And so we're matching some of what we consider to be the hindrance to the expected outcome, and then coming up with, from here, we hope to come up with workable solutions to these challenges. So in the end, they get their returns.
Today's presentations featured 5 panelists, 2 of which shared their presentations with us. How things like a teacher shortage is not only impacting us, but the wider Caribbean as well, and how teacher retention can also impact student performance.
And tentatively, right now we have 44 million teachers that we need worldwide. For our region, Latin America and the Caribbean, it's 3.2 million. And for a lot of persons listening, they might be like, okay, that doesn't resonate with me because it might not be 3.2 million in Antigua where I come from or in Belize. But when we really take a look at what is happening in Ireland, for example, in Antigua, we have lost 35 teachers over the last 3 to 4 years. And for a small country like Antigua, that is huge for us. So my job today is to kind of open up our eyes to the reality of what is happening, why our teachers are leaving, and then delve into some of the policies that we can put in place to ensure that we retain our teachers, and not just retain teachers, but retain teachers that are trained, that are solid, and that want to stay.
Today, I spoke about teacher retention within the Belize school system from the perspective of a head of department. My discussion was focused on what are the causes or the drivers for teacher retention or teacher attrition, and how this impacts school functioning and ultimately student performance. So my goal was to bring the realities of what is happening in the classrooms in Belize from my perspective as a head of department, and to shed some light on what are the barriers and challenges and what needs to be done as a middle management leader to ensure that we keep our teachers and we don't lose them.
Khalid says that there once was a time when the educational sector was filled with enthusiasm. Students wanted to learn and teachers had an interest in teaching. She hopes that once these issues are addressed, it will change the wider scope of learning and energy in the classrooms.
Because I'm quite certain, as a student, you've heard your teachers saying, I'm tired, it's a lot of work, and it's becoming more and more demanding. We want to make certain that our students go into a classroom where my teachers are like, yes, I'm happy, it's a beautiful day, let's get it done. Excitement from beginning to end. That is what we want to correct. I want them to be like my era. We were excited to go to school. We missed one day and we were frustrated because we were thinking of all the content we missed, the tests that they may have. But today, they're absent, they don't care. No, we don't want that. We want to see an energized workforce, educators and students. Because tomorrow when they graduate, they will take over from us. We need that.
Jo Marie Lanza, 7 News.
Tomorrow, the BNTU segues into its 2-day annual convention. In February of 2025, when little Pablo Oriano went missing from Stella Maris and tragically drowned, the special needs school was engulfed in scandal. Now, 13 months later, you can see heavy construction underway at the school. Of course, a major retrofitting like that does not come cheap. But thanks to a partnership with Belize Water Services, the Ministry of Education signed a memorandum of understanding today, securing a significant investment that will go towards the construction of a much-needed physical therapy and occupational therapy room. Here are the highlights from that signing today.
The information came jointly with the ministry. They had provided exactly what equipment was needed. Of course, BW is going to do the installation, the painting of the room, equipping of AC units. It's a company initiative, so we'll have employees also assisting with that. Apart from the equipment that is going to be donated, we're looking also at a water fountain that is going to be added at the school, so the children could have that to drink. So what initially started as an investment of about $50,000 has arrived to close to $100,000. But that includes all the equipment for the physical therapy room, fully AC'd, and as well as the water fountain that is required. It's a way that we give back. It comes out directly out of BWS's profits. So it's not something that comes out of tariffs, right? And it has us feeling good, especially given our 25th anniversary and being part of something that is huge, such as the renovation of Stella Maris.
So for months now, we've been working back and forth. They have gotten information on what's needed. Obviously, this is not a typical ask. So there was a lot of learning on their part as well. They were really open to learning what sort of equipment would be needed. And they've been part of, like I said, the design, the procurement of everything that we need. So when the new campus is ready, to target is August 2026, it will open with a brand new physical and occupational therapy room. The enrollment at Stella Maris has almost doubled in the past year. This academic year, when they started, they had an enrollment of 80-something students. Right now, they are at almost 140. The numbers already for the coming academic year, the registration process that's starting already, are indicating that they may well reach over 150 students. To the point that we're already looking at space as a premium for Stella Maris. So we're definitely anticipating that the impact of a room like this is going to be felt for well over 100 students.
As part of Women's Month, the National Women's Commission held an empowerment forum today with over 100 guests. The event featured presentations by experts on leadership development, health and wellness, and social support services. Here are the highlights.
Today we have brought women from all over the country, and we have an empowerment forum and educational fair. So in this morning we have speakers about the holistic approach to wellness of women, empowerment of women. So we start with spirituality. We'll be looking at some anthropology, really looking at culture and how culture shapes our thinking and the way we do things. Financial literacy, health throughout the life course. You know, women go through different stages, and how do we take the health? We cannot balance a scale if we're not healthy, mentally, spiritually, physically, and so on. So we have at least 5 leaders who will be here today talking about balancing the scale for women. We start off with Reverend Claire, as you can hear. She's doing the spirituality aspect. And then we have someone from Galen University, Miss Griffith, who will talk about culture and how it plays a role in terms of women in leadership, women, what society expects of us. And then we go into health throughout the life course with Dr. Bear from Ministry of Health. And then we have financial literacy. How do we take care of our monies? How do we save? How do we spend? Do we really look at how we're balancing the scale as it relates to creating wealth for ourselves and our families? And then at the end, Sandra Kale, a consultant, she will wrap it all up with everything that have been said, with a nice activity for women to an action for them to take back. We don't want you to come just listen and go away with nothing, but we want some action points that they can actually put into effect for their own lives and for the lives of their families.
We all know that health is wealth, and for many women, we worry about everybody else except ourselves. We need to worry about our kids, our husbands, spouses, workplace, making sure that we're doing everything and we're juggling everything, and we're losing ourselves in the process. And so I believe this is a great opportunity for refocus, and to really look at themselves and see, how can I balance my life? Because when a woman's life is balanced, it doesn't only grow her, it also grows her family, her community, and the nation on a whole.
The budget debate ended a short while ago, and the leader of the opposition took a hammering from the vast majority on the government side. Well, that's politics when you're the opposition, but what she did object to was being put down by the PM for what she calls a disability, which is a knee injury. She said the PM was bullying her, but yesterday when asked if he would apologize, he didn't seem eager to do so.
Well, you apologized to Panton. She said you mocked her quote-unquote disability.
I don't remember I was mocking her about her disability. I mean, she's mocking me about grandstanding.
What is
So,
that different?
so you know,
That different?
I beg to differ.
But this evening, when he wrapped the debate, the PM did offer some backhanded praise to the leader of the opposition.
I believe the women present at this chamber, yourself included, Madam Speaker, the first woman to become the leader of the opposition in Belize. Our senior minister, the Minister of Human Development from Corozal Bay, they are all great examples. You all are great examples of Belizean women in leadership. We on this side support all the women in this house and look forward to the day when we can have more women elected in the National Assembly of Belize.
The PM's wind-up of the debate concluded a short while ago. Spread out across 3 days, it lasted for about 23 and a half hours. And that's all we have for you for our newscast tonight. Thanks for watching. With your news, I'm Indira Craig. Remember, you can find a full transcript at the news at 7newsbelize.com and see the streaming video on our Facebook page. Do have a pleasant evening. Join me back here tomorrow at 6.